It appears that sometimes sunlight is necessary in politics. Today on FIT TV, we have a candidate for the Suffolk County Legislature, Ms. Mary Calamia, with us. In light of the many issues Suffolk County has had in recent years, we believe some fresh blood will clear the way for an effective government that we can trust and do the job we all know is so desperately needed. Welcome, Mary.
Thank you.
Mary, you are in Holbrook, that's where you're from, right?
Correct.
And your district runs from Bayport to Oakdale and from Holbrook to Bohemia. That's district number 8, right?
That's correct, yes.
Okay. Why did you get involved in politics?
I've been involved in politics for a while on the grassroots level, and really taking a very active stance, out there. And I just thought it was time to step it up and take it to a more proactive position where I can get into government and really do some work. Like you said, it's time for some fresh voices in there, and I just think that it's about time I stepped up and became one of them.
So that the audience knows what the county legislature is, what is it that they do?
It's the legislative arm of the county government. They they're responsible for budgeting all of the county agencies and operations, the roads, anything under the county auspices, the legislature is responsible for.
Okay, and sometimes the voters might want to know what you might be doing that maybe wasn't done. Is there anything that you can see out in front of you?
Oh, absolutely. Right now, we are really in a fiscal crisis situation in Suffolk County. And what is at the heart of that crisis is excessive spending and irresponsible fiscal policy. So we have about 6 legislators in there who are trying very, very hard to stop the excessive spending and just restore some sanity to the budget, which is totally overinflated and bloated in the county right now. There are 6 legislators working really, really hard to stem the tide to prevent, tax increases, more tax increases.
How many are there altogether?
There are 18 altogether,
Whoa.
So do the math. 6 of them are really trying very hard, 12 are not. They're spending our money gratuitously. And we need to grow their numbers. The 6 sane voices, we need to grow their numbers so we can turn the tables and stop some of this irresponsible fiscal policy.
That seems like a big challenge. I mean, if they're stationed on one side, is it possible to move them at all?
It's very possible. We move them out. That's how we move them.
Oh, okay. Good plan.
Yes.
So you're up for the challenges then?
Absolutely.
That the job entails.
Absolutely.
What do you think it's going to take in terms of time? I know that obviously running for office now, it's taken you forever to reach everybody, knock on doors and make all these engagements, to squeeze me in and things like that. So
every single day I get up very, very, very early and I start working from the second I wake up to the time I go to bed very, very, very late. We are knocking on doors in the district all day, every day. There's somebody out there knocking on doors. We've met, like 4,000, we've knocked on about 4,000 doors up to this point in the district. And we're talking to people and making my name known and hearing what their concerns are. So I know what it is I'm going to be addressing for them.
It sounds like a good plan. Do you have any anecdotal stories that you can tell about anybody you've knocked on the door about that you want to share with us?
Oh, we've met some really, really wonderful people. We've met an elderly gentleman, a World War II vet, who is just trying very, very hard to get there's a little easement in their neighborhood that goes into the back of the supermarket, the shopping center there, and nobody owns it, and it's all chewed up, but this is where all the elderly people cut through to get into the shopping center. And this man, who's about 90 years old, who is COPD on oxygen, he is going to, if it's the last thing he does, he's going to get that fixed for his neighbors, not for himself, but for his neighbors, because they're having trouble getting through there and he's afraid somebody's going to get injured.
Yeah.
We meet people who, I met a woman who I just learned that she works with immigrant children. She raises money and school supplies for them just at a grassroots level in her, right out of her backyard.
Yeah, not really getting paid for it.
No, exactly, exactly. Just trying to do good for the community.
That's a great fun, isn't it? When you think about it, I mean, it's hard work, but that was fun, knocking on doors, right?
Absolutely.
You never know what to expect.
You don't know what to expect. We met a lady whose father was a famous musician, who is now volunteering for me. Everywhere we go, we meet somebody who has a new interesting story.
So you can recruit while you knock on the door
Yeah,
to get to know
absolutely.
you. Well,
Absolutely.
it must be a personality.
I hope so.
One of the biggest concerns is affordability here on Long Island. There's an awful lot of parents leaving, and some of the grandparents are losing their children because they can afford to live here, which also means now they're not going to be able to see their grandchildren.
Correct.
What's going on that we can...
Every door we knock on, we say, if we would actually doing research, I would say that 1 out of every 5 door knocks results in somebody saying, we're moving, we're leaving here, we're putting the for sale sign in the ground, or the for sale sign is already in the ground.
Right.
It's people of all ages. You know, we keep hearing about the brain drain and young people leaving Long Island, but you know, New York is the least affordable state in the country to retire to. Suffolk and Nassau are the least affordable places to live in the country. So we have elderly people leaving, we have young people leaving, we have everybody leaving, people in the middle.
You know what bothers me about this, Mary? This has been going on for a long, long time. I mean, you have to have a lot of courage to fight this all the way through, because it seems like it's stacked against everybody who comes into office to start over again and wake everybody up to the high taxation levels. And small business operators are getting kicked out. There's doors closed in a lot of buildings that were open.
It's a hostile environment for small business. I love Long Island. I want to stay here. I'm the kind of person like to dig my heels in and stand my ground. I'm not one to cut and run. I consider just throwing the for sale sign on my property and getting out, but I love it here, and I think that we deserve better. I think we deserve better than to have elderly people having to get on an airplane and maybe they get to see their grandchildren once a year, or they're Skyping with them. We have friends who are currently Skyping with their grandchildren. They had to learn how to Skype. Yeah. That we deserve better than that.
You know, I've seen a lot of that now that you mention it. I know a lot of older people who are Skyping to see their grandchildren. There's something missing there, the touch, the feel, right?
It's a disgrace. That's not the legacy that we should have. You're right, exactly.
There was a time when it's one of the issues we do on our show all the time is the grandparents leaving and the tactile responsibility that we all have as mothers and fathers, and the extended family means something. Yeah. Uncle Joe, Aunt Angela, they have to keep connected if it's possible. They want their families, and now it's disappearing.
Yeah. You know, I grew up in the kind of family where, the Italians used to have in Brooklyn, and somebody lived on the main floor, and somebody else lived on the top floor, and somebody else in the right, exactly. And it was just a given that you'd buy the house behind you, next door, or across the street, or around the corner. That was a given. Now, people, and almost everybody's telling me Texas. My son moved to Texas. My daughter moved to Texas. My grandkids are in Texas. That seems to be the most popular destination.
It's the best place to run a small business from, as I see it. The taxation base is low.
Absolutely.
Yeah, he's done a great job down there. That's Perry, governor. Yeah.
Well, now it's, now I can't remember who.
Yeah, me either.
It's not Perry anymore.
Regarding politicians and how long they stay in office is term limits. I've always been a proponent of term limits. I think it's important. How do you feel about the term limits issue?
I'm 150% behind term limits. Suffolk County Legislature the legislators are term limited.
Oh.
It's, I think, pretty much the only governing body out here that has term limits.
I didn't know that. Great.
Yeah. Well, other than, I guess, the president. I think they're the only representatives we have that are term limited.
So what is the term?
It's 2-year terms, a maximum of 12 years.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So they are term limited, but I think term limits are really important.
I think that's enough time, isn't it?
I think the voters need to start term limiting people.
It looks funny when you look on TV and you see the federal politicians. Some of them have been in office for 20 years and 30 years. You go, oh my God, these are career. They have more connections than. And
they're completely out of touch. They have absolutely no connection to the people they represent.
Right.
They don't know what it is every day to try and keep a roof over your head.
Don't you think it'd be a good idea if we had some more business people running for office?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. My background is in business. I started in business before I became a social worker. My bachelor's degree is in business. And I worked in the construction industry, and I balanced a budget for a multi-million-dollar construction company. I dealt with union payroll, non-union payroll, employees. I used to get up on rooftops sometimes when we were dropping a big piece of equipment on a roof. You have to be out there in the business world to really even understand how it all works.
That means a lot to government, and it should mean a lot to government. I'm not sure that it does.
You know, the government is a business. It's probably the biggest business we have, but it's not always run like a business.
You know, attached to the fact that families are leaving, and there are taxation issues, and taxation issues, a bulk of that money, you know, comes from the schools, and the schools absorb a lot of that. My argument is that why do we have so many state-mandated programs? Why are they taxing us so high? And a lot of it looks like we're just beefing up and supporting whatever retirement packages they have, it seems, because the education level has been not exceeding.
Yeah, well, we have Common Core now, which is probably one of the biggest expenses we've had in the history of education. The cost of implementing Common Core alone is burying us, and once the federal funding dries up, which it will, and we have to support the Common Core and the Common Core testing, I don't even see anything but more taxes and increased taxes on the school level.
Not a good sign. Is that already totally implemented?
I think this is the 4th year of Common Core. This should be the last year of the Race to the Top funds. And then that's our baby now, and it's ours to nurture and keep alive, and it's just, everybody hates it. And
I was going to say, it seems like there's a tremendous amount of opposition to it.
It's tremendously opposed. It's not working, and yet we're going to keep shoving more money into it, and taxpayers are going to have to keep paying the bill for it. We just, last year in New York, we voted in these smart bonds to purchase laptops and electronic equipment.
You know, you put the word smart in front of something and everybody
people
thinks
think it's smart.
Think it's smart.
Yeah,
right.
We must be stupid if we don't vote for it then. And what we're doing is essentially bonding iPads or laptops or electronic equipment to support this implementation of Common Core. We're paying out bonds on equipment that's going to be obsolete in a year or two, or useless in a year or two.
Mortgaging everybody's futures.
Absolutely. We keep just kicking it down the road. We're kicking the can down the road. We're doing the same thing in the county. The county is bonding to buy police cars. They're borrowing money to cover payroll. Would you take a 30-year loan on your vehicle? It's like going to 7-Eleven to buy a pack of gum and putting it on your credit card and paying it off over time.
Aren't you upset that, because that's the truth, that we keep doing the same things over and over again?
Yeah, I am furious.
I would be
I'm
furious.
absolutely furious.
I would be furious. I'd be stomping mad.
I knock on doors, I talk to people, and I keep using this expression, it's like they're gulping for air. People are just talking about keeping the roofs over their head. They can't get beyond that. I'm a social worker. I do psychological counseling. We always talked about Maslow's hierarchy. Remember I don't know if you ever learned about this, the pyramid, where at the bottom, if you don't meet your very basic needs, you can't move to the next level towards self-actualization. So food, shelter, safety, those are the very basic needs. Mm-hmm. People are so caught up in trying to just keep the roof over their head, the food on the table, and keeping their families safe. There's no time for anything else. There's no time to move on any further and take on any more in their lives.
There's no recognition, essentially, that most of us are kind of trapped in the middle of something that we don't see the fruition above us.
Survival
that easily
mode.
Available.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
It's survival mode.
There's also an effort to extend the length of time staying on the education issue, extending the courses, keeping the times, keeping the kids over.
Yeah, no.
More days.
Yeah.
Well, what else is going on there?
Yeah, we're not going to provide better education by giving them more time. We're giving them a lousy education as it is. So more time of lousy education is just lousier education. Kids need family time. Kids need to be with their families. Kids need to go be kids.
Yeah.
Right. We all got smart on 6 hours a day, 6.5 hours a day of school. Why can't we make kids smart? We have all the technology in the world. Why can't we make them smart in the same amount of time?
What?
I don't understand.
Yeah, I can't figure that one out either. But we were highly disciplined. I mean, I don't know if this is going to be understand this, but this is how I feel about it. I'm a former teacher myself, so we had a lot of discipline in the school system, and there was less time dealing with people who were rowdy and less discipline issues.
That's true. I went to Catholic school, and my first year teacher was a brand new, fresh out of college. I don't know, maybe she was even in college. I mean, she was like 19-year-old nun who was about 4 foot nothing, who kept the class. We had 30 kids in our class, 30 first graders, and she kept them all in line. 36-year-olds without a problem.
With a stern voice and maybe a ruler? I don't know.
Yeah, nobody got whacked or anything. There was just no deviation from, we behaved and we did what we needed to do to learn.
Let's see, what about going to, in the same vein again about education, the state mandated programs that seem to absorb a great deal of the tax dollars. Whenever the school has an issue, they're immediately going after you for your bus and you for your, can't think of the other phrase, but sports and the busing.
Right. In kindergarten.
The things that'll bother the parents the most because they'll have to pick up the kids and they'll have to move them around. So we force them into the situation.
It's bully tactics to get the budgets passed.
Now that to me, I'm just John Q. Public here. It's obvious to me too, and everyone I talk to seems to understand that, but nobody does anything about it.
I know.
How do you get the masses to move on that?
The fear tactic seems to work. Well, again, remember what I said about the masses are just in survival mode. They're just struggling to survive. To motivate people to go to the next level and become active and take some kind of a stance or position, they don't have the time or the energy for that. The resources, the physical resources are sucked up with just trying to survive and keep the roof over their head and the food on the table.
Right.
They have very little time or attention for anything else, unfortunately. The people are just struggling to survive. This is a shame. It's a disgrace.
Right. It's completely backward for me. I can't figure out. And we're 19th of the 20 leading industrial countries in education on an average. I mean, there's different polls that give you different numbers. But I look at this as a trend that started before you went, before you became the winner in your district and your office. But the point is, it's been going on for a while.
Yeah, but the thing is, what's really important to know is they put this Common Core down our throats, saying that we were, 20th out of 20, we were 19th out of 20, that our PISA scores were not competitive across international lines. PISA. Don't ask me what it stands for. PISA.
Okay.
They're the scores that they use to compare our nation's youth to the youth in other nations, and those other 19 industrialized nations. And the truth of the matter is, we have been in the middle of the pack internationally since the 70s. For as long as they've been keeping track of that, we've been in the middle of the pack. So nothing's changed. We're not in any dire situation here. They're just trying to catastrophize, and so then
I see.
Common Core, we have to fix it. I keep telling legislators, I talk to a lot of the state legislators that I'm close with, every time you write a piece of legislation, you're making government bigger. We just keep adding more and more layers of bureaucracy and red tape and mandates, and unfunded mandates, every time they write a piece of legislation. It's got to stop. It's got to stop. The bubble's going to burst.
I see the unfunded mandates and things that are required to be too darn complicated. Placing one bill on top of another morphs one idea into another one, and then they have to sometimes place a bill in to move. I don't see this is it's unnecessary.
Yeah.
We have simple, basic rules would be terrific if we were able to manage that, right?
I think a lot of it would just be if we would just enforce the rules that are in place to begin with.
Yeah.
Instead of just having to add more rules and more layers of red tape.
Is there anything that you can think of that you might want to try? Because I think this is a time where you try to move ideas. You may want to try something no one else has. So stick your neck out, I'm thinking, because whatever they've done before hasn't worked.
It's not working.
Yeah,
it's not working.
So have you got anything in your head?
Well, I do. I want to take a huge bite out of the heroin epidemic issue.
Oh yeah,
that's a big one. My background is in substance abuse. I'm a credentialed alcoholism and substance abuse counselor. I was a prevention specialist for many, many years, and treatment. I have a few ideas about what we're not doing. I've already been working with Al Graff, my assemblyman, who's writing legislation.
Yeah, he's been on the show.
Has he? Yeah, and we're trying to, we're just trying to talk about things that we're not doing that could be done at this point to stem this heroin epidemic. It's going to bury us financially. We're burying kids every single day. And
Yeah.
we're pouring millions and millions of dollars into
it's less expensive, and the people are going after it, and nobody knows what's in it, and it's truly dangerous. So please do that when you
Yeah.
get to be when
Absolutely.
you get to
Absolutely.
when you're position in office. Any final statements you'd like to make?
No, just we can do better than we're doing right now. We deserve better than we have right now, and I think it's time to make some changes in local government. If people aren't happy with the way things are, we've got to change the way things are.
Thank you very much, Mary Calamia. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Americans are fast becoming victims of brain salad surgery. Political corruption, social perceptions, and media-driven narratives are rapidly carrying away our republic, our very understanding of what America is. Our nation, our government is disrupted and confused by a new social order, and we are losing our common sense, making us vulnerable to strikes of deceit from within and outside of our borders. Our aim on FIT TV is to supercharge Americans with education. Catch us on YouTube. Find us on FIT-TV, select the channels, click my picture, and thank you very much for watching FIT TV, and we'll see you again next week.
Every week we return all our cans and bottles. Yeah, we help to reduce the world's waste.
But aluminum? It's like gold. Oh, yeah.
Environmental defense. Get green. For more environmentally friendly tips, go to getgreen.com.
Oh, there's a bottle.
Where?
Right over there. To your left. To your left. There you go. You got it.
Sweetheart, smoke outside now. You promised.
Okay, hon.
Sweetheart, smoke outside now. You promised.
What kind of man are you?
I'm a father.
Look here, my father was a father, and he smoked his brains out in the house.
Watch as he blows those smoke rings on my little red face.
You probably have asthma.
Asthma? Schmasma. I'm telling you, nothing's gonna happen to your kids.
I swear.
Don't swear when you're lying. You know very well that thousands of kids get bronchitis, ear infections, and even pneumonia from their parents' cigarette smoke. And didn't you promise your little angels you'd smoke outside?
Hey, Daddy. Hi, Daddy.
Those little devils are just so sweet.
Do the right thing.
Please, smoke outside.
Until you can stop, go out for your kids.
Take the pledge. Call 1-800-513-1157.
Properly inflating my tires burns less fuel and saves me money on gas. Yeah, I'm saving Mother Nature from pollution, but more importantly, she saved me $11. Ow!
Environmental defense. Get green.
By keeping my car regularly tuned, I save money on gas and repairs. That also means cleaner air. You know, feels good to help save the cash, planet.
Environmental defense. Get green. For more tips, go to getgreen.com.